So, this is the start of a weekly reading vlog. I've been really enjoying watching Murphy Napier's weekly reading vlogs, and the way she structures them is she does a check-in at the beginning of the week and a check-in at the end of the week to update her viewers as to where she is reading wise, and then she throws in a few clips from her life in the middle, and I really enjoy that style of vlogging. And so I asked her if she'd mind if I tried it out on my channel too, and she said that that was fine. So that's where I'm getting this formatting idea from, just so you know. I'm going to start off with my rereads. I have one physical and one audio reread at the moment. Usually I only do one reread at a time on audio, but my first reread is Mediator Book 5, Grave Doubt by Meg Cabot, and I actually haven't been able to find this one on audio, which is why I'm rereading it physically. So it's probably going to take me quite a while to get through it, because I'm just going to read it in between my other 3 reads, which I'll get to in a minute. So at the moment I'm only on chapter 3, page 25. This series follows a girl named Susanna Simon, who is a mediator, which means that she can see and speak to ghosts and kick a little ghost butt if she needs to. And I read this series originally when I was around 11, 12, absolutely loved it, reread it a million times. I couldn't even tell you how many times I reread it, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm really loving the nostalgia of revisiting this series, so love it. My other reread is an audio reread, and it is Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson, which is book 2 in the Stormlight Archive. I reread The Way of Kings, which is book 1, last month, I think, so I'm rereading this one this month. I'm on page 139, so not massively through this one, I'm only there. But I really like the audiobooks for this series. They're narrated by Michael Kramer and Kate Redding, and they're just really good audiobooks. I would highly recommend them. I think they're great narrators. I'll probably tell you some more thoughts about this one later in the week once I've read a bit more of it, but it is a reread, so I already know that I really like the story. I don't like this one as much as The Way of Kings or Oathbringer, which is the 3rd book, but that's mostly because the protagonist in this one is Shallan, and she's probably my least favourite character of the series so far. So it's not my favourite for that reason, but I still really love it. I still gave it 5 stars. So it's my least favourite of the 3, but still a book that I absolutely love. Then for my physical reads, the reason I have 2 is because my first book is The Fountains of Paradise by Arthur C. Clarke, which is a classic sci-fi that I am buddy reading with my friend Nisha from the channel On the Margins Of. So firstly, we're reading it slowly, so that's why I've got 2, but also this is really heavy going for me because it's classic sci-fi and I've never read classic sci-fi before. This is my first. I'm on page 60, which is chapter 11. And this book is about an engineer in the future, and I don't know exactly which future date it is. It's still future to us, probably a couple of 100 years in the future, so like 2200 and something like that. I'm not sure, it hasn't been specifically stated yet. But this engineer has this idea to build a lift, essentially, into space. And I think what I've been struggling with this one so far is the fact that there's lots of futuristic ideas, but the setting and the language used is very classic and historic in tone, so that juxtaposition is quite a lot to get my head around. It's really interesting, but it's also really different from anything else I've ever read, which is making it a little bit of a slower read for me, but we're starting to get into the meat of the plot now, so I think it's starting to keep my attention a little bit better. So I'm still not very far in, and I probably still won't be very far in when I check in at the end of the week, because like I said, we're reading it quite slowly and not as our primary read anyway. But I'll let you know once I've gone a bit further. And finally, I have Princess in Practice by Connie Glynn, which is book 2 to the Undercover Princess series. I read book 1 last month and I'm reading book 2 now. Not very far into this one either, only 102 pages, but it's a young adult book and on the much younger end of the young adult book spectrum, so it shouldn't take me too long to get through. I should hopefully get a decent chunk of the way through this tonight and then be able to finish it maybe tomorrow or the day after. So I can't tell you what this one is about, of course, because it's a sequel, but book 1 follows these two characters, Lottie and Ellie. Lottie is a normal girl with an obsession with princesses, and Ellie is a princess who doesn't want to be a princess and who is undercover. So they essentially switch places, and I really love that switch places trope, and I just enjoy, especially when I'm reading some heavier reads, to have something really light and fluffy. This one is contemporary but sort of based in a mystery type plot, so it's just a nice, easy, fun read and I'm really enjoying it. I just realised I didn't tell you what this one is about, and that was probably a conscious decision because it's epic fantasy, and so it's incredibly difficult to tell you what even the first one is about without spoilers. The first book is 1,001 pages. I think this one is nearly 1,100 pages, so the beginning is so much setup that anything I tell you is getting really quite far into the book. But book 1 follows Kaladin is the protagonist, and Kaladin is a slave and he's put on a bridge crew in a war, and essentially what a bridge crew is a group of men who carry a heavy wooden bridge on their shoulders out into the war zone, and it is very dangerous, and Kaladin doesn't have a great life. He's got a really difficult past and he deals with a lot. Meanwhile, we also follow Dalinar, who is one of the warlords, essentially. So he's called a high prince, but for the purposes of this explanation, he's kind of a warlord. And we also follow Shallan, who's the protagonist of the book that I'm currently reading, who is essentially a country girl who is wanting to become a scholar. So that's really all I want to tell you about the Stormlight Archive, because I don't want to spoil. But that's where I am now. Hello! So it's actually now Monday because I had some battery related issues yesterday, so I wasn't able to finish my vlog on Sunday as planned. So kind of cheating, kind of failing on my first ever weekly vlog, but it wasn't my fault. My batteries died and I was away from home so I couldn't charge them. So we're gonna wrap up the reading week, starting off with the books that I've made zero progress with. Mediator, book 5, Grave Doubts, haven't read any of that. I have made very slight progress with Fountains of Paradise, in that I think I was on page 64 when I updated you at the beginning of the week, and I'm now on page 67. I just haven't made any progress with it. I've been really consumed by my Yalk reads, so there you go. I finished Princess in Practice. This is book 2 to the Rosewood Chronicles by Connie Glynn, and I probably liked it about the same as Undercover Princess, which was book 1. I really enjoyed the character development in particular. In this one, there's one character who I really want to see more development from, but I feel like they are going to develop in the final book, which I think is out in September. I have a feeling it's out in September. It might be November. There's lots of books coming out in September and November, and I can't keep them the right way around, but I'm pretty sure this one is coming out in September. I enjoyed it. It's light, it's fluffy, it's easy, it's what I needed when I was reading it, and I'd really recommend it for that. It's just fun and whimsical and has all of the trademarks of something that I really loved when I was, or would have really loved when I was around 11 or 12, and I feel like you just need that sometimes, you know? So I liked it. With Words of Radiance, I've listened to a bit more of it today, but I was on page 139 and I'm now on page 385, and by now I mean as of last night, because I decided to, so that you'd know I actually read of this in a week, which I'm really happy with. I'm still really enjoying it. There's really not much for me to say about this one. It's the Stormlight Archive. I love it. I'm actually, one thing I will say is I think that I am enjoying this book more on reread. When I read it the first time, I was still so connected to Kaladin, having just finished going through everything that happened in The Way of Kings with him. If you've read the series, you'll know what I mean. And then in this book, we're predominantly following Shallan, and I just wanted to get back to Kaladin. So I kind of chilled out a bit on that with this read, and so I'm actually enjoying the read more. I mean, it was a 5-star read the first time, it will be a 5-star read again this time. I'm just enjoying the experience a bit more this time. So that's positive. I don't think it's necessarily because I'm listening to the audiobook. The audiobook is great. I just don't think that that's why. I think that I'm just giving myself the time and being less impatient with it, so I'm enjoying it more. I hope that makes sense. I can't remember if I had started Muse of Nightmares when I updated you a week ago. I don't think I had. I think I said I was planning on. So I have picked up Muse of Nightmares. I haven't actually read as much of it as I would have liked. I'm only on page 222, so I've read this part here. I am, as I did with Strange the Dreamer, I am listening to this at the same time as I am physically reading it, and I'm really enjoying that experience. I find reading physically and reading audibly at the same time a really immersive experience and something that I really enjoy. And I think with a book or a series like this one that's so atmospheric, it just really adds to the story a lot. So I'm really enjoying this book so far. Like I say, I'm roughly halfway through, not quite halfway through, but nearly, and it's paced a lot faster, I think, than the first book, because you just jump straight back in. There's no explanation needed. We know the characters, we know the world, we know what's going on. It's pretty standard with fantasy that the pace of a second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever book is a bit quicker, because you don't have to deal with all that exposition necessarily right in the beginning. So this is definitely benefiting from that. I didn't find Strange the Dreamer that slow anyway. Lots of people say that it is slow. If you're worried about that, I do think that this one is faster for all of those reasons, and I'm really enjoying where this one is going. I feel like, although book 1 was not in any way predictable, I feel like book 2 is even less predictable, if that makes sense. And I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really looking forward to finding out what is going to happen, and I'm hoping to finish it within the next couple of days. And then, I'm not going to talk about this one for long, because I've nearly finished it. So this is the second book in the Next Together duology by Lauren James. This is The Last Beginning. As of right now, I'm about 40 pages from the end. As of last night, when I should have finished this vlog, I was about halfway through. So I've read quite a lot of this today. So I don't really want to talk about it too much in this particular vlog, because in next week's vlog, I'll be wrapping this up right at the beginning. So you can look forward to that. And that's it. I actually really, although I failed slightly at finishing this vlog on time, I'm actually really enjoying vlogging in this way. I think it's going to be really enjoyable, and it will allow me to put out an extra video each week, because I'm planning to hopefully still do my regular 2 uploads a week and then just add these weekly vlogs in as an extra. So I should, in theory, be having 3 vlogs a week. Now, having said that, the next few weeks at work before I leave my current job to start my new job are going to be crazy, and quite possibly my first few weeks at my new job will be a little crazy as well. So I'm not going to make any promises about uploading 3 videos a week. It might be that it's 1 video and a vlog for the next month or so, but my plan is to have 3 a week, so we'll see how that goes. And let me know what you think of this format of vlogging. Thanks again to Murphy for giving me the idea for it. And that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like this from me, then do think about hitting that subscribe button, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks. Bye.